What up, guys? In this video I want to talk about what I call performative conversation, and this is basically where I'm gonna get into it in a second, but it's kind of a mistake. It's a mindset mistake, and I've made this before in the past, and it causes a lot of stress, and it can make you come across as unsettled and a little bit insecure. And this is basically where, before the date, you worry about what you're going to talk about, and you worry about having a constant flow of conversation on the date, and you especially fear awkward silence, and so you tip it off that you're actually performing, like a almost as if you're playing a sport, or if you're putting in conscious effort to converse. And you can see this on the date, like whenever there's an awkward silence, you'll do something like this. I think we can talk about, well, what, one sec, I just stutter sometime. So then you'll be like, what are we gonna talk about? Oh, I know, we'll talk about this. Like, I know that's very exaggerated, but at the same time, it's like, sometimes we'll do that, and they can tell that in the little speech pattern where you're like, when there's awkward silence in the date, you're like, I think we'll talk about this. Like, when you do that, they know that you're performing. Does that make sense? So they're gonna feel that pressure, because women are very perceptive. Like, you'll transfer that feeling of self-pressure over to them, and you don't want that to happen. So it's better if there's an awkward silence, just be okay with it. There's tons of cultures that are like completely okay with awkward silence. Sometimes you just have to be more okay with each other's presence. Like, you don't necessarily have to say something, and if there is a silence and you don't come off as bothered, then it actually makes you look good, in the sense that it looks like you can maintain confidence in an awkward silence. So it actually ends up making you look good. It ends up making you look like you're unsettled, or you're settled in yourself. I just ran up the stairs, so I'm like out of breath. But I'm gonna cut real quick. Of course, dating is performative to an extent, but you want to kind of keep that hidden. You don't want to necessarily tip it off, like by going like, being pressured to like speak and pressured to converse. Like, you don't have to run through every single logical question, like, so what do you want to do when you're older? So what do you want to do, like in the future, and what's your favorite color, what's your favorite food? And you're trying to perform. You're just forcing your brain to come up with these logical questions to ask her over and over and over again. Just let the conversation flow. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be you ask a question, I answer, you ask a question, I answer, I ask the same question, you ask the same question, I answer. It doesn't have to be like a back and forth like that, like a logical exchange. You can kind of just flow, and also work on your conversational skills. And I think you'll find that if you converse a lot with people, you won't have to ask as many questions. Like, the conversation won't die out, because you'll get used to expressing yourself and telling stories. You want to tell stories and details and things like that, and then maybe they'll come back with a comment as well, so you won't have to ask so many questions. Or if you do ask questions that you're curious about, not just a performance, you're just coming up with questions just so you look like you're someone who can converse. We've all been there, but sometimes you got to do it a little bit if the conversation's just completely dead, but mostly you can just chill, and just, if you run out of things to say, just enjoy the food, or say, oh, look at that bird, or however. But yeah, try to stray away from performative conversation. And if you are going to do performative conversation, go try it on not random people, but You know, try that on your friends and try to see what works, or get a part-time job where you can converse with customers and try to figure out what works by asking different questions. All right, have a good one, y'all. Peace out.